Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to F1 2020 My Team Career Mode here for round 6 of Season 3, the French Grand Prix. Coming off the back of a pretty dominant win in Azerbaijan, I'm looking to keep that momentum going, keep extending the lead I have over Ricciardo in the championship. Obviously my typical plan is to extend the lead to a point where when I need to take engine penalties and when we get to tracks that I'm not particularly good at, I will have a decent enough buffer of points to him. And as you can see, cutting straight to qualifying now, end of Q2. We got through on the softs, so Ricciardo went through on the mediums. So split strategies here. Don't know what he's going to be trying in the race, but hopefully we can get pole over him. As we're now coming to do our one and only run in qualifying 3, because we're going to be doing the 2 stops, going soft, medium, soft. So we want to save a set of soft tyres for the end of the race, obviously. Ricciardo could put us under quite a bit of pressure due to him potentially doing the 1 stop, going from mediums to hards. Although when the AI starts inside the top 10, I don't think he will do that. I don't remember what he does, but it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to try and pull away from Ricciardo as much as possible. He's currently set at pole position. We have our cars just, I don't remember exactly what upgrades we're doing, but every episode the car's getting faster and faster at least. Or as at least maintaining the same pace. And as we're coming through the end of the Sector 2 split, hopefully we'll be somewhat close to Ricciardo. I think we went purple in Sector 1. Through Sector 2 split we are purple once again, 1.1 seconds up on Sainz, so we should be relatively close to Ricciardo, as the McLarens are about a second slower than us each lap, which is absolutely insane. And now we're just going through the tight complex bit of Sector 3. Hopefully we can make this stick, which we do. We don't really utilise all of the track there, like getting onto the curbs, so that was probably pretty poor from me, but we managed to keep it nice and tight through the penultimate corner and the last corner, get some good rotation there. Very decent exit. Now we're going to keep the car in a straight line. Running up to the line, it's going to be a 124.3, and I believe that is actually pole position. Yes, it is. So I was actually kind of surprised by that, because typically France is a strong track for the AI. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up the results screen at the end of qualifying, so I think Ricciardo's starting second. I don't know what the gap was, but we'll move into the race now. Hopefully we can keep this momentum going forwards, and if Ricciardo is doing the 1 stop, hopefully we can pull out a massive gap to him at the front, and that will negate the advantage he gets from doing one less pit stop. So that was the grid, pretty close between myself and Ricciardo, only a tenth or so in it. So it looks going to look to be quite a close race. Obviously the AI are a lot stronger in qualifying, so hopefully we have got good race pace. And we're just adjusting the strategy here. We're going to be running mediums in the middle stint, although it says hards would have probably been better to run in the middle, but we're not going to do that. We have a set of mediums and we can make them last pretty easily. Stopping on lap 6 for those, and then stopping on lap 19 for a fresh set of soft tyres. Should be okay for tyre wear. It doesn't look, well, it looks pretty harsh on the indicator, but in the race so it's always a lot less harsh. But we're getting ready for the start of the Grand Prix. We've got 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go for the French Grand Prix. We get a pretty decent launch compared to, we get a very good launch compared to Ricciardo actually. Bottas and Albon slipping quite far behind, but we lead comfortably going into turn 1. And now hopefully we just got to try and run with this. Our softs will be good for maybe a lap. I say 2 laps or 3 laps. Our softs will be quicker than Daniel's mediums, so we've got to try and make that stint count. Obviously, pitting quite early puts us in a bit of a conundrum with traffic, as you know, we can't pull 20, or well, we can't pull like 25, 27 seconds on the field behind us when it comes to our pit stop. So yeah, we're gonna have to encounter some traffic, which is always the disadvantage with the 2-stop. But then again, the 2-stop is naturally slower just because of the length of the pit lane. And as nothing happened, we got straight to lap 6 where we just about get the car slowed down for the pit lane. We're coming in. We managed to pull 3.5 seconds on Ricciardo, but we are going to get a pretty big undercut on him as we're pitting quite early. See, the field has actually spread out quite a lot, which hopefully we can feed ourselves back into a decent gap. I'm aiming to try and get ahead of that Alfa Romeo that's currently going over the DRS detection point. Around him, I think, is where I'm going to come out. If we get out ahead, that'd be great, but as the boys give us a 3.1 second pit stop, yeah, it's going to be a lot more difficult than we first thought. As we actually come out already P7, we're just behind Verstappen, so we're well ahead. I guess a lot of people starting on the softs, which is an interesting call for starting outside the top 10, but then again, it's their loss really. So yeah, traffic actually isn't going to be a big problem for us. Well, it is, but it's not going to be like a ridiculous amount of traffic where there's like 10 cars or something. But first up, we're going to dispose of Verstappen on this straight. It's going to be a pretty simple move. Even if we don't get him on this straight, we'll just get him after the chicane. But by the looks of it, our car is considerably faster than his, and we've got a full battery, so we're just going to breeze past him. He doesn't really fight it all too much. And run out up into 6th. Currently provisional 2nd, as me and Ricciardo both have to make one other stop, but our tyre advantage will hopefully allow us to close in the gap quite heavily. Ricciardo's going to be stopping around lap 13, 14 I'd expect. It's about half the race on mediums, half the race on hards, as we gain another position through Matsushita pitting. And we should catch up to the back of Gasly and Leclerc on the same lap actually. So you can see the mediums have got quite a big advantage. Hopefully we'll get Gasly into his braking zone, although we're not using overtake. I was actually planning to do the move after this chicane, but as Gasly gets caught up behind Leclerc, caught up behind Perez, we get a nice run around the outside of Gasly, and we're going to use our ERS just to pull ahead of him, which we do, and we're going to keep it on for a little bit extra because Leclerc is really slow on this straight and we're gaining massively, so we're going to try to go the inside here. The AI are extremely weak around the inside of this corner. If you go up the inside here, they just back out like that instantly. Yeah, it's a bit stupid. Obviously Leclerc couldn't really do much there, but they when they back out, they like stamp on the brakes. They do get a better exit, but it's an easy way to overtake them. So yeah, we're making pretty decent progress. 2 cars in a sector, and we'll get Checo hopefully on this straight. If not, it will definitely be overtaken. Yeah, we're going to overtake him on this straight. We want to get past him as quickly as possible, as Ricciardo is 17 seconds up the road. If I can get that gap down to 10 seconds before he pits, I feel like we'll be in a very strong position at the end of the race, or when we make our pit stop to win, because he will obviously be on really old hards. As we come up to lap 11 now, he's actually pitting really early for hards, so doing 17 laps on those tyres is going to wreck them quite a bit. Oh, obviously we do have tyre wear upgrades on the car, but the cars are considerably faster, so I don't know how much the tyre wear upgrades actually nullify the effect. As we come as the pits on lap 20, we have a 10-second advantage over Ricciardo, so we should come out maybe 12 to 13 seconds behind him. Yeah, I don't know how much the tyre wear upgrades actually, discount the tyre wear effects. Obviously, if the car was still the same pace in in this race as it was in the first episode of season 1, but we had all our tyre wear upgrades on, then obviously tyre would be better. But because the car's going through the corner faster, I'd say the tyre wear doesn't really affect it all too much. And my tyres are going to remain fresher for longer than Daniel's, or like our tyres are going to stay fresh. You know, it's what I'm trying to say is it's basically it doesn't matter. You know, this would be the same as it was, you know, in just a standard Grand Prix race. You know, his tyres would age the same as they normally would, whereas mine would also age. Like, the tyre upgrades don't really do anything, I think. That's probably one of the weaker upgrades is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we set the fastest lap of the race. On the second lap we come out of the pits, and now on to lap 26. We've actually closed up to Ricciardo's. I think we were like 12 seconds when we came out of the pits. We've pulled that in massively. We were at least 2 to 3 seconds a lap faster than Daniel. And lap 26, we have one more lap to go after this. I decided not to go for the move on Daniel. I did have a cheeky look at his ERS, and he's pretty high on it, but we're also pretty high on our ERS. So hopefully we're going to wait, as we don't want to get him on this lap. Although we could have, but what we want to do is we want to be behind him going onto the back straight, onto the big DRS straight, or even, you know, the exit of the chicane, as we're both getting caught up behind Latifi there, but he moves out of the way and we get a massive snap of oversteer. So that's pretty much our chances of getting him into turn 1 done, which again would be viable, but we want to wait. We want to ensure the move is done. We still have 70% ERS, so we can use some to catch up to him on this straight, which we are going to do. There is some traffic ahead in the form of a Haas and an Alfa Romeo, which could come into play. They're a couple of seconds of the road, but we're, you know, considerably faster than them. So hopefully we encounter them in the third sector, which it looks like we are going to do, because then it'll hinder Daniel a lot more than it will me, because I'll hopefully be ahead of him. And you can just see the amount of grip we have here. We haven't even reached 60% on our softs yet, so they're not great, but you know, they're probably in better condition than his tyres, and naturally we just got more grip on the softs. And as we come onto the back straight, we're 4 tenths behind, but that gap is going to close significantly, as we've got enough ERS just to use it down this entire straight and this straight afterwards. And as we get to the chicane, I turned it off a little bit early, I think, because I wanted to get a better run out of his. We're actually pushing Daniel around that final bit, and Grosjean there, he's in the way, but he gets out of the way pretty easily, so that's good for us. And now Daniel doesn't use ERS down here, or at least he turns it on very late. I don't know if he's running low. The AI never likes to use ERS, so we're going to dive it up the inside of this right-hander here, hopefully. We let him have the initial part of the corner as it opens up for us, and we get up the inside through the second part of that long right-hander. Now we've just got to hold on through this final sector. Hopefully we can nab DRS off of the Alfa Romeo up ahead of us, as Daniel's looking to try and get past us in the final sector. The AI don't typically like going for lunges into this final corner, so it's all going to be a drag race up to the line, as we don't get DRS off of Giovinazzi. So you can see Daniel's closing massively here. He's gaining, and the line just comes in time. And we managed to win the race, which is pretty decent. You know, that was a bit closer than I'd have liked it to be, and it's I don't think that would have actually worked in season 2, because the car, or the field, is was a lot closer last season, but because our car is just so much faster than the midfield, which is where we would have emerged after our first pit stop, it allowed us to pick up the win, and I'm very happy with that. And yeah, we gained some points over Daniel as well. So as you can see, pretty dominant win for the Trunkers Khan Racing boys. We're 40 seconds ahead of Valtteri, who did a 2-stop. Interesting to see the strategies there, obviously throughout the rest of the field where it's a lot closer, the 1-stop proving more dominant than the 2-stop. I think the AI electing for the 2-stop as well definitely helped us out a lot, as you know, it supports my theory that the tyre wear upgrades in career mode, they don't really do all too much, as your car gets just so much faster that your tyre wear, you know, it will always grow, and no matter how many upgrades you put on, you can't really you know, counter that. So it's always going to be the 2-stop, which I'll favour in this career mode, aside from, you know, some tracks where it's naturally a 1-stop. But a decent win overall. I didn't catch the standing. I think we're 27 or 29 points ahead of Ricardo, so we do have a good buffer. We do have Austria coming up next, so another strong track for myself. I'm not sure where we are in terms of engine or power units, in terms of whether we need to take a penalty at some point or whether we can make it through the next few races without it. I actually don't know when I take them. I can't remember, but hopefully I think we'll just take them when we need to. When I usually take them, so Belgium, Mexico, that sort of stuff. We're signing with some new contracts here. Just typical ones that will be very easy to do. It gets us a lot of money too. Also, we're still saving up for Daniel as our teammate, but I believe we've got enough to keep him on board. I'm looking at upgrades here, and I think the only one I'm going to do is I might do this weight redistribution one or this brake one. I think a brake one is definitely more. Yeah, I decided to do the brake one because that leads to another brake upgrade, I believe, and I want to get the brake upgrades on. I want to prioritize those, as I feel that this car doesn't stop as efficiently as it should. We're spending a bit of money here on the facilities, but we're making sure we've still got enough to keep Daniel on board for next season, which we do. We've got over $1 million spent. By the time we get to the contract renegotiation, we will have plenty of money. So yeah, that was the French Grand Prix. Pretty short and snappy races. Not much really happened, and not much really does happen in these races, apart from me and Daniel come close and we battle. Because everyone else is so far behind that, the only other bad thing I do with cars is when I make an early pit stop. So yeah, these episodes are going to become considerably shorter. I might consider upping the race distance or making myself start further back. I don't know what I'm going to do for future seasons. Hopefully we'll still make it interesting, and hopefully we can win this season's Drivers' Championship and Constructors. I think the Constructors is pretty much in the bag. I know we're only not even halfway through the season, but given the pace that we showed, and given how much our car is going to exponentially grow, the Constructors looks to be ours. So if you did enjoy this episode, please do leave a like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for more my team content. Next race at Austria will be round 7, I believe. I'll catch you for that very soon.